Hi everyone. My next guest on the Airbnb ONG Fund participant interview session is Peter from Markos Design Workshop. And he is a UK-based architect, a very talented designer, and his project really stood out wow, it's truly amazing. So let me show you some of his renders and some of the photos of his project. And then I'm going to get Peter on here so we can discuss his project and his experiences in renders, which I love. So his design is a monocoque cabin in the UK, and a monocoque is essentially a shell. So he will tell us more about that. The project is located close to an hour outside of Birmingham. Is a model that he built, hand built. This is Peter himself working on the project, the inspiration for the project, and a plan. So this is the 3D render, and you can see that the cabin has a bedroom, a living room, a lounge. Let's get him on here.
Hello.
Hi Peter.
Hey, thanks
Nice
for
to have you on.
yeah, thanks for a very good introduction.
How long have you been teaching?
On and off for like 2-3 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When did you start your own practice, your own firm?
Yeah, much more recently.
Okay.
So I started the project and seemed to have like a fair amount of success with it. So
Okay.
and then I started to get like a few inquiries and a lot of interest in other things. So and I'm relatively recently qualified as an architect, so it made good
Awesome.
sense. Yeah.
I think it's quite a long process, right? Especially in the UK. How long does it take?
Yeah, it takes like 7 years, and that's if you're really good and you do it in 7 years, but I did it in 10.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to the project. Tell me about the inspiration behind it. Why monocoque?
But basically, the idea with the monocoque, just to answer your question, was I was looking at automotive design, and I was kind of quite interested in a lot of the efficiencies behind automotive design construction. And this idea of like the monocoque is quite prevalent in the design of cars and the design of airplanes, and it's essentially where the structures on the exterior and the exterior shell acts almost like an eggshell. In terms of materials, in terms of construction time, that's quite efficient. Yeah, that really established the language, the design language. And I've been working on this for a fair amount of time, about 2 years, I'd say.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I started the project prior to the Airbnb competition running over.
So did you have the land, or did you have access to the land and then you started to design this project and then you started building it with the funding, or how did that work?
I got in touch with a farmer and we agreed to a commercial lease prior to the farming,
Okay.
prior to the Airbnb grant taking place.
How far are you along? What do you still need to do?
We're pretty much there in terms of what
Okay.
we need to build the decking around the cabin.
Okay.
We've done all the exterior, most of the interior, and then we need to put in the plumbing and the electric. So it's let's say another 3-4 weeks work.
Oh wow! So you're going live. You're going live pretty soon to accept your first guests.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. What
Okay.
we want to do though is we want to have like a little trial period where like
Okay.
myself, my girlfriend, also the farmer and his wife as well. We all kind of want to just try it out and almost pull out problems before guests come and stay.
Yes, yes. Just tell me the area where it's located. What's it called?
It's called Shropshire. It's a bit like
Okay.
it is in the UK. Shropshire's the Hobbiton.
Okay.
If anybody's ever watched Lord of the Rings, yeah, it's quite a very peaceful, quiet place. It's right next to the canal. It's a really beautiful site, to be honest. It's right next to these kind of Grade 2 listed buildings built by quite a famous engineer as well. So we're really lucky.
How did you find that spot?
Yeah, I think basically we sort of went round. I went round with. So I was really lucky with this farmer because he was a friend of a friend, and we kind of went around his farm and identified potential plots. Some of the plots were pretty typical, just a field next to a road.
Mm-mm.
And then when I saw this, it was just like surrounded by a beautiful woodland. There's the canal, some
Amazing.
amazing walks, and some great views as well. And then I was like, wow, okay, this is a definite yes, and sort of showed it to my family, and they loved it as well. So
Oh, awesome. It sounds so beautiful. Do you have a lot of carpentry background?
yeah. So I kind of, and that's really the thing which got me to architecture. So when I was like 16, 17, just at school, started to do really well in DT, woodwork, and
Awesome.
reasonably badly in everything else, except maybe business. That's kind of stuck around really. And then I did a carpentry course in Kashmir, always just been interested in wood and the joining materials. So
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
you built a few chairs and you've sold a few chairs. You've won an award for your chair.
yeah.
So with this cabin, are you working on it yourself, or do you have a team working on it full time?
The team's kind of expanded and then shrunk again. And
Okay.
like, uh, so what we had is we had like some a really great prefabricator who was kind of like our main trade contractor.
Mhm.
Um, Now they made the main modules off-site,
Okay.
and then we transported it, and we got a team of joiners on site to bolt the whole thing together. But in terms of like the cladding and the shingles, actually me and a friend have done that, and my friend who's been, really great as well. He's got like no building experience, so
Okay.
it shows anybody can really, if you sort of put your mind to it,
Yes, if you
anybody
put
can
your
really
mind
do it.
to it and you really want to do it, you can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think yeah, the budget. Are you in budget?
I'm not too far off,
Okay.
actually, to be honest. I didn't think it would cost as much as it
Okay.
did. Uh, I think the thing is, we were quite good at estimating like materials, but it's actually things like petrol and
Yeah.
the data. Every day there is something, and you don't account for that.
Yeah, yeah. So what was the thing? So what was the most expensive thing of that you didn't expect?
You know what? Obviously, we did the planning drawings and things, but it was a lot bigger than we expected. Because obviously it was mainly made by digital manufacturing.
Yes.
So you see it on the computer, send it to the guys, they make it, and they're like, "Wow, this is bigger than we thought." And then when it got to site, it was like, "Oh, whoa, that is bigger." And you know, in a way, that does push up the cost because something you
Mm,
assume will take 3 or 4 days ends up taking twice as long.
mm, mm,
So
mm. How big is the total cabin?
it's big. It's floor to ceiling. It's like 4.5 meters.
Oh wow!
Um,
So that's very high ceiling. That's beautiful. And the floor area.
the floor area, so internally it's about 23 square meters.
Okay. I think that's a nice size for a weekend getaway for two people. So you also have solar because I saw some sketches about solar panels somewhere.
Yeah, so the solar panels and the wind turbine were actually the thing, and the batteries associated with those. That really racked up. That was about 9,000 English pounds
Wow.
in total.
I know that's so expensive of my project as well. Like solar power, it's super expensive, and the batteries, all of that. Why do you have a wind turbine and solar power?
Because the English weather's pretty
Uh,
terrible, really.
oh
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
it's not like South Africa.
So the people in the area, do they also power their houses with wind turbines?
Wind turbines not that common
Mm,
domestically.
mm,
I know there's a couple of the neighbours have solar panels on their
mm, mm.
roofs, which is becoming more popular.
Okay. Do you have access to the grid? And
We don't.
you don't. So
No.
it needs to be, so you need to have enough power on your batteries when there's not enough sun and also be ready with your wind turbines. The water supply, where are you getting your water from?
So the farm, they get the water from a borehole. I would say these sorts of questions that you're asking and things about like solar and water. These are the things which really took us like a long time to resolve. Because although I'm an architect now, this is my first solo building. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely a challenge.
That's my experience as well. And people don't realize how difficult it is to get water to the house and to get energy to the house. And those are some of the biggest costs and also the biggest challenges to get to this off-grid cabin. And I think it's a good learning school to do
Yeah,
a
definitely.
first project like that. And lessons that you've learned, you can take that forward. What was your biggest challenge on this project?
I think probably before I got the Airbnb grant. I know it sounds quite weird, but I think especially before I had the Airbnb grant, the challenge was almost like the confidence to do it.
Oh,
Um,
really? Mm.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It was kind of quite. I just thought, oh, is this going to work? I was
Yes.
thinking about all, and I actually probably spent more time worrying than I did almost working on the project. So yeah.
But you said you did quite extensive planning. So you did like a lot of 3Ds and a lot of sketches. And that obviously helped you with your confidence a bit, right? But I mean, getting out there, stepping out there and being like this, sending those drawings to be cut and sending them to be like for the CNC cutter to do that, it's really, like, I think that's a big step. And I know it can be quite challenging and scary. What is your favorite part about the project?
It made me realize just how much more I prefer actually just working with my hands. Yeah, because I really love just sort of being on the site with like the joiners and my friend and actually doing the building work. Not feeling like I was an architect to have to be stuck at a desk or
Yes.
so that when the weather's good and stuff like that's actually just the best thing.
So do you spend your time lecturing, building this cabin, and then also doing some work for other clients?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also working on like a further refined version of this as well. So more recently, we got a research grant from Innovate UK. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so that's we're going to look at almost developing the cabin into a bit more of a product,
Like a flat pack cabin and then
basically.
shipping
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's almost taking like the lessons of all the good lessons because I think there's a lot of things we actually did right, maybe and just combining that with the things we really want to improve on.
Mm. When will you start with that?
I've got a meeting about it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I think because I mean, a bit of advice I got from somebody once is he always said, if you've got a project, there's,
Mm.
another architect, if you've got a project, try and don't just worry about doing that. Try and think about, getting the next projects and how that works.
Yeah, yeah. When you started looking for contractors to help you, how did you go about the process to find people to help you with this cabin?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So that's definitely one of the challenges because, uh, again, when I started this, I was 26. I was fresh out of uni, so I don't think many people really took me very serious. Uh,
Yeah.
so in terms of the contractors, yeah. So remember, there's loads of contractors that I sort of called and I said, I want to do this cabin, and I sent them images, and I think a lot of them just thought, oh, this won't happen, or a time
Mm.
waster sort of thing. Um, and then there was one company who they seemed to take me quite serious, and they invited me to their workshop, and and I was like, oh, okay, and then I just ended up running with them because
Oh,
they,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Do you kind of prioritize going there a lot and working on the project?
Yeah, so 3 days a week, me and my friend go to the site
Mm.
and we do most of the building work.
Okay. What's the latest you've stayed on site?
We have slept on site once or twice, and which was quite funny because we slept there and he had his dog, and his dog's not much of a guard dog,
Okay.
uh, but it's the best we had. So yeah, yeah.
What is there in the area? It's the Peatswood area, right?
The farm itself is it's a dairy farm. Then in terms of like facilities there, there's some really nice walks along the canals,
Okay.
a really lovely pub. It's actually one of the busiest sections of the canal in the UK. And then there's loads of grade two listed housing around there as well, which
Mm.
sort of makes the place stand out.
I am looking forward to seeing more footage and more more videos and photos from when the project's completed. And I'm looking forward to seeing it listed on Airbnb. And I wish you all the best with the project. You're very talented, and I'm looking forward to seeing more awards being won by you.
No, thank
So,
you. You too, and let's do this again.
yeah, have a good evening. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye. Bye.